Good day, Internet. This is DTNS Live for Friday, January 31st, the last day of the month, 2025. From Studio Animal House, I'm Sarah Lane.
In Los Angeles, California, I'm Tom Merritt.
From Columbus, Ohio, I'm Robb Dunewood.
And I'm Roger Chang, the show's producer.
Now, look, there's no Daily Tech News Show live without you. If you disappear, we disappear. So big thanks to Chris Smith for not disappearing. Also, Mark Gibson, Reed Fischler, and two new patrons, Dale and Jeff.
Yay! Welcome to DTNS Live, everybody. This is the show where we discuss the tech news to help us all understand it a little bit better. Now, I would ask how everyone is doing, but Rob, I'm starting with you because you have the coolest hat.
Well, I was on the last couple of Fridays, didn't have a hat, and I decided I was not going to be out-hatted this week. So we're going with the black denim mid-brim fedora today.
I love it.
Nice.
This is good stuff.
Who are you wearing, Sarah?
I'm wearing Lagunitas.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Is yours denim too, or am I just imagining
Well,
that?
it's not denim specifically, but it's kind of supposed to look like denim.
Yeah, okay.
I bought the hat at the brewery, which is in Petaluma, California, some years ago because the Lagunitas mascot dog looks a lot like my doggo does.
Oh,
So,
yeah. Okay.
and I also like Lagunitas beer. So there you go. And what about you, Tom?
This is a black Los Angeles Dodgers hat made by MLB Korea.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It's got the different MLB
I like
logo
that.
on the back.
I was going to say, I don't, it's not because I hate the Dodgers, although I do, but I don't look good in blue, so I don't wear a Dodgers cap.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to.
But
But
you
I
never
wouldn't,
would
even
anyway,
if I,
but yeah.
But the black, I like.
You know
Yeah,
what I'm thinking of right now? Remember Price is Right back when Bob Barker was doing it? At the end of the show, it'd always tell you who his suits were provided by. I feel like that's what we're doing. Hats provided by.
Hats provided by. We're open to a hat sponsor, just saying. Let us
We are.
know.
I mean, we very much are. We're also open to a lot of tech news, and we have a lot to get through today. So let's start with the news.
According to documents seen by Bloomberg, Amazon will spend 60% more than it initially estimated to build two huge data center campuses north of the state capital of the U.S. state of Mississippi. The state, of course, gave tax breaks and agreed to pay for some things like sewer connections to get this all done.
Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg said during an all-hands meeting seen by The Verge that sales figures for its Ray-Ban smart glasses sold more than 1 million units in 2024. Zuckerberg also asked the staff whether sales will go from 1 million to as many as 5 million units in 2025, adding, quote, "Are we going to go from 1 million this year to 2 million, or are we going to go from 1 million to 5 million? Guess we'll find out. The Ray-Ban Meta smart glasses first launched in 2023.
Bloomberg reports that Uber filed a racketeering suit in Brooklyn, New York, Thursday, against a group of legal firms and medical professionals, claiming they staged car crashes and performed unnecessary surgeries to commit insurance fraud. The group is said to have recruited passengers involved in minor vehicle collisions and provided medical unnecessary, invasive, and painful surgeries like spinal fusions. New York has a no-fault insurance policy that includes cabs and rideshare chauffeurs. The city forces those workers to carry personal injury coverage up to $200,000, which may have something to do with this.
Yeah, I've seen those billboards. I get why this is happening. According to DNS, not DTNS, DNS, domain name system data from Cloudflare, TikTok's U.S. traffic is now 10% lower than what it was before it briefly was shut down in the U.S. on January 19th. And traffic to alternatives like RedNote fell rapidly once TikTok went back online in the country. So, your glass half full is like they've almost recovered. Your glass half empty is like they have not kept the entire audience that they had on January 18th.
Apple has agreed to settle a $20 million lawsuit to resolve claims that some older Apple Watch batteries swelled over time, potentially damaging other key components like the display. The lawsuit was filed in the U.S. District Court of the Northern District of California and alleged that the issue affected Apple Watch first generation Series 1, Series 2, and Series 3 models.
All right. On Friday, OpenAI launched O3 Mini. So this is a new reasoning model, AI reasoning model, designed to be both powerful and more affordable. Affordable being the key because, we got DeepSeek to think about at this point. It's supposed to make STEM tasks like coding and math and science better for output and is reportedly faster and cheaper than OpenAI's own O1 family of LLMs. Unlike some language models, O3 Mini is supposed to fact check itself before responding, which makes it more reliable, at least in theory, although a little bit slightly slower as a result. It is available now. With ChatGPT Plus users able to send 150 queries a day. If you're on the free version, obviously you have fewer than that. OpenAI also released an API for select developers, though without image analysis at this point. O3 Mini, definitely a competitor to DeepSeek's R1, especially in high-effort reasoning tasks.
Yeah, so this is what you call a chain of thought model. That's the fact-checking thing. So it's not like it's calling up PolitiFact and being like, hey, is this right? But chain of thought means that it will do iterations on the answer and kind of look and figure out like, 4 out of the 5 times I did this one, and that seems more correct. So there's a little more supervision going on there. And what's big with O3 is that it's doing it a lot faster. Now, everybody is spinning this as in response to DeepSeek, OpenAI announced their own fast and cheap model. My guess is they were probably going to announce this anyway. It's not like they just whipped this up in the lab last night. But the timing is interesting nonetheless. And I tried it out. It is much faster. I have ChatGPT Plus, not the free tier, but it whipped through some formatting I do for Substack much faster than the what was the one I was using before? These names, right? But yeah, I was using one of the other chain of thought models. I guess it was O1, and the O3 Mini is much faster.
Now, when you say rips through, are we talking like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Oh, that's what it used to take, and now it's just 1 second.
Yeah,
because this is all this stuff is so fast.
No, it's a good question. Like when I put Substack posts in and say, please format this for Substack, it chugs along. It takes it a while. It's like I can see it slowly, line by line, doing the output, and so it'll take up to a minute or two to do a full post. When I did it with O3, it was just like zoom, like it's just boom, there it is. It's all down there. So I'd say twice as fast, rough, back of the envelope.
That's interesting. Yeah, Rob, are you using ChatGPT Plus or just the free version? Because I'm only free.
I'm only using the free version. And it is slow. So same thing when I'm formatting to put stuff in Substack, it might be 10, 12 paragraphs. It takes it a good 30, 45 seconds or more, depending on how complex it is. If hopefully it gets it right. I think I've gotten the way I type it in and say, do this, make it rich text, remove all these things, so I've gotten that down. I just copy and paste that in, but it is not fast. It actually does take it a relatively long time compared to, I also use the free version of Gemini, and it's kind of interesting. I'll use Gemini and it's faster. It's just not necessarily as accurate, as clean as I would get from ChatGPT. Yeah. So it's not that it's bad. I can definitely go through and massage it and get it to do what I want it to do, but it just takes a little bit more of that massaging to get it to work. So I would be happy to see something go a little bit quicker because first world problems. If I got to wait 45 seconds for this thing to do my work for me,
it's not the end of the world. Google's Gemini Flash 2.0 thinking model was announced in December. It is just now being integrated into the free version of Gemini, but it's been out there, and it is cheaper to run than DeepSeek R1. It's better than DeepSeek R1 on 3 benchmarks. Google kind of cherry picked those, but it's legitimately better on those three benchmarks. So I look at this and I'm like, yeah, everybody knows about DeepSeek because of the hullabaloo with the NVIDIA stuff. Everybody knows about OpenAI because they are very good at telling you that they're doing something. And I don't think they even mind that this is seen as a response to DeepSeek, whether it is or not, because it makes people talk about it. What is up with Google over there with an arguably superior local model where they're just like, oh, yeah, we had that too. We didn't want to make a big deal out of it.
I wonder if Google, if they're taking a stance that, you know what, we were behind. So now when we come out with stuff, we're just going to come out with it and let people respond to it and say, hey, this new thing from Google is out. Let the work kind of speak for itself. Than to tell you that we've got all these things that people are going to immediately go and cherry pick. Oh, it's not as good as this. It's not as good as that.
So in a way, sort of like their version of under promise, over deliver, right?
Yeah.
Like get people's expectations
low.
Yeah. Like, well, there's something
it's better than the alternative, right?
We all talk about,
where, everyone complains is like, oh, this company said that,
right.
I don't know, Apple comes to mind of like Apple Intelligence, and people are like, what does it do really?
We all talk about what the benchmarks are and which one's better, but most people don't. And so Google may say like, yeah, it's not worth the blowback, when really what matters is people using it for Google products get excited and go, ooh, this seems to really work. I mean, Rob, you were saying before the show that you've noticed an improvement in the Gemini models you use in Google Docs, right?
Absolutely. I distinctly perceive that, oh, this is actually better, because the reason I was using ChatGPT is because ChatGPT was generally better for doing the formatting and stuff that I wanted to do, particularly for Substack. And with this update, that I don't even know if it's an update, but whatever Google is doing in just Google Docs, and I say reformat this, it is perceivably better. It's like, oh, okay, I can just use this because I was running out of those free credits on ChatGPT.
Yeah. And I think that's what they want, is people to just be telling each other like, oh yeah, I've been using the AI, and they don't even have to know it's Gemini or what model it is. You don't know what model it is in Docs necessarily, but you just know that it's working better.
I mean, definitely from a consumer standpoint, it's all AI. They hear the names, they hear ChatGPT, but to them, it's all just the one thing. Why pop that bubble and just, say we're doing something different? I think it's a pretty smart move from Google, just to be a little maybe low key about it.
When it comes to OpenAI's own naming conventions, Tom, I know you were sort of poking fun at that earlier.
Because I couldn't remember what they're called.
Well, exactly, because we have a lot of models that we all have to. I mean, not every model is right for every person or corporation, but I thought it was kind of funny. I chuckled a little bit. OpenAI's own Kevin Lau, he works, in the engineering team, said in a post on X, "We released O3 Mini, available today to all users in ChatGPT for free. O3 Mini Low is faster and often better than O1 Mini. And O3 Mini High is the most capable publicly available reasoning model in the world." Now, if that was just one company that we had to keep tabs on, I'd be like, okay, I get it. So we got, Mini Low, regular Mini, Mini High. But yes, we have a lot of competitors in this
Who
case.
graduated from Mini High? Raise your hand. No, I'm looking at the drop-down menu now, and they do a good job in the drop-down menu of explaining the difference, but the naming conventions are a little weird now. 4.0 is great for most questions. 4.0 Mini, which I forgot even was an option, it's because it's buried under more models, faster for most questions. O1 uses advanced reasoning. O3 Mini, fast at advanced reasoning, and O3 Mini High, great at coding and logic. So it does at a glance make it easy for me to go, oh, I think this is the one that I need.
Yeah. And also, if you're going to use these tools, it's like you're going to tinker around and be like, yeah, you know what? The Mini Low is actually the best one for what I'm doing, because not everybody's doing the same stuff.
Here's what I want. Give me an interface to where I just type my stuff in and the model figures out what model it should use. I don't want to have to know.
Like it analyzes the prompt.
Just look at what I typed in. Oh, we need to put you here. And it just gives me an answer back, because that's all I want. I just want to type stuff in and get answers back or get formatted text back. I don't care about the model number and all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah.
Daniel Schwartz just said, O3 Mini High is when it hallucinates.
Too high, O3 Mini, too high. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, Rob, let's talk a little bit more about what LinkedIn's up to these days.
So LinkedIn's been trying to get more video creators on board for the better part of the last year, and it looks like the efforts are working. They've been testing out a special feed just for vertical video in their app since March of 2024, and people are loving it. Short videos are now the fastest growing type of content on LinkedIn, and way more people are creating videos than other kinds of posts. In fact, video uploads were up 34% in the last quarter of 2024, and people watched 36% more videos overall between October 2024 and January 2025 compared to the year before. So I say all that to say this. I don't know if either of you have been in LinkedIn anytime recently, but it's no longer the LinkedIn of people who are looking for a job, putting a resume in there, and people who are looking to hire people, recruiting on LinkedIn. This is a whole social media platform now where there are creators who they literally are creating videos just like you would for Instagram or TikTok or YouTube or what have you, and putting that content there. And it's really, really sticky. And like I said, I've been playing around with LinkedIn for probably the last 6 months or so from a creator's perspective. It is very different than the LinkedIn that I remember when I was working in corporate and I just had my LinkedIn Gold account and I just always updated what new project I had just completed.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I've noticed that too. Like you could still find all the work related job seeking stuff there, but I'm looking at my LinkedIn page right now. Of course, the very top post is us because we're streaming our show on LinkedIn. But then there's today's puzzles. People who follow Daily Tech News Show also follow these things. Big almost Instagram like graphics of like, here are 5 Fisher investment bloody blahs that you can enjoy. And then Jason Howell's got his video for the AI Inside show that he recently did. Like, yeah, there's videos, there's post Jim Louderback is here, Michael Wolff doing a video. Like, this is not like here's what we did at our job in my feed at all either. You're right.
Yeah, I'm looking at my LinkedIn now too, and because I don't do it every day, got a couple messages where I'm like, oh, I should have responded a couple days ago, but I have notifications turned off because at one point it was too much. I also have LinkedIn, I have certain keywords, like jobs that are similar to mine. I'd like to know, who's asking for those kinds of jobs. So I get notifications about that. So in many ways, even though Robb, it sounds like LinkedIn is going the modern route, it still does work in this legacy way for me. I every so often I will look at my feed and I'm like, gosh, people are really prolific on LinkedIn.
I have a feeling just because of what LinkedIn is, it tends to cultivate a certain segment of your Rolodex of people, right? So it's not your friends or family per se, but it might be work colleagues or it might be former colleagues, or like there's a different space of people that you interface with. And I think what I've noticed is that everyone that I follow on LinkedIn, it's all very work or career related.
Definitely, right. The content's still that, but it's not. This is a job posting.
Oh yeah,
but that kind of stuff.
It's definitely more social.
It's more what you do in the break room than it is what you do at the desk. Yeah,
exactly. It's more of like, hey, this is a lunchroom. There's free donuts. Hey, what'd you do this weekend? Whatever kind of thing.
Check out my photos from my vacation.
Yeah, a lot of the content is work adjacent. So some of the bigger creators on there, they may have been really good at creating, working with Excel and using Power Pivot or something like that. And they might have even at their job been creating videos internally for, an organization. And then they just started saying, well, so I put video on LinkedIn. Let me go ahead and stick these out there. And people who are looking to maybe skill up, they're finding that content, and it's going viral on that platform. Yeah. And it's not just work related stuff. I mean, it's work-life balance. There's a lot of things on there, and there's a lot of articles out over the last year and a half about LinkedIn, and it seems like for creators, they are finding sponsors on there. I'm not exactly sure why that works so much or so well on LinkedIn compared to other platforms. But if you are putting out content about how to do something in SAP, you're putting out content, about how to do something in PeopleSoft, those companies are coming back and saying, hey, we want to sponsor, this next piece of content that you put out. That is happening in mass on LinkedIn. It's not that it's not happening other places, but it is definitely happening there because there is that tight relationship or that close relationship to things that are being done in the workplace with these big companies that want people to know how to use their products.
I will also add, it tends to be less crufty than your YouTube, your Facebook. Like I don't get random like hot dog carts that show up in my LinkedIn feed from people I follow or other things. It's
do you get that other places?
Let's not get distracted here with hot dog carts. But okay. The idea is that it's less crufty
and forget it.
It's a relatively new space that hasn't been filled with a bunch of junk. And when you're not fighting against junk, you tend to get more receptive eyeballs because they're not being distracted by a variety of things that have nothing really to do with that.
Yeah, last year we were talking about how LinkedIn is the nice social network because everybody's on their good behavior because they might end up working for each other in the future. Yeah. So you don't see as much trolling and random stuff like you're talking about. So it just seems like what Robb's pointing out is that it has grown beyond just being the nice work-related thing. It has become a social network, but but because it comes from that like let's all behave like adults vibe, it's not full of junk.
Well, and all the other social networks, and we have quite a handful now of social networks that all can kind of do the same connecting thing, but in different ways for people. I think LinkedIn is really the only social network that's like, no, it's just about work. It's about, what you do, what you have to offer, how you can help people. Let's connect. LinkedIn has always been very good at that. Other social networks, you can still do that. You can make that social network siloed out in whatever way you want to, have various, lists of people that you talk to about work, or you talk to about sports, or you talk to about movies or whatever. But I think LinkedIn has flourished in many ways because it never really wanted to be anything besides the network for professionals.
It's focused, right? If you want office supplies, more often than not, you're going to hit a Staples or you're going to hit Office Max. Walmart sells a lot of office supplies. I also have to go through a bunch of kids' clothes. I have to go through their food aisle. I have to go through a lot of other stuff just to get to the back where all the office supplies are. And if I'm lucky, it's not all messed up, right? I go to Staples. Yeah, I need a bunch of manila folders. I know where it is. Go out. And it's not crowded because you're not going to see a bunch of kids hanging out in Staples. For
it's a good metaphor, yeah, because you can do work stuff on Facebook, but you have to go through all those other departments, and wade through all that other stuff.
Yeah. It's like Aunt Edna. It's like, sorry about your cat, but I'm talking to this person about like, my new career opportunity. It's just there's a lot of awkwardness that happens where two parts of or even three parts of your life intersect, whereas LinkedIn is really focused career job.
One of the things about LinkedIn is that unlike many other social media networks, the people who are on there 95% of the time are actually who they say they are because most people's, Microsoft is pretty strict on this. You can only have one LinkedIn account and they want that LinkedIn account to be you. So, and then it is work related stuff. Your employer may see this stuff. So people are much, better behaved is maybe a good way to put it on that platform. The other part of that is that because people are who they say they are, and it is giving you the opportunity to say, I do this thing. I have expertise in this area. I want to put some content. I'm going to go make some videos on this new version of MySQL. I want to go make these videos on this new version of this new router that came out. And it just so happens that you have a social media platform where other people who might be interested in that stuff are actually listing in their profile that I work on this platform. I do these things. These are some of the things that I'm aspiring to or I'm looking for. So their algorithm can match people up relatively easily, and you get a good match for the type of content that you might actually be looking for.
No, it's a good point. Like, I wonder though if that continues to be the case as we see it widen out. Will it start to dilute that?
Yes, I think it will. even if they stay true and hew to like the career track job thing,
but like Rob's saying, they make you be yourself. They don't let you do multiple things. You have your employer on there.
It's hard to say, but like, with anything, the more people that are aware of it and use it and stuff, generally the odder bits of social etiquette sort of find their way in, if not directly, perhaps in a passive aggressive way.
Yeah, I wonder if you maybe have creators now who are jumping on there, and I'm just going to get rid of my old LinkedIn account. I want to create this new account and just use it for this one thing. But still, you're locked into just having that one account. They are. I used to have a problem with when I was working in corporate and also podcasting that I couldn't separate those two worlds. You still can't do that on LinkedIn. All your experience is what they want. So, although I have a lot of corporate experience on there, you will see all the podcasting related stuff that's on top of it, but everything is there. And although I think it is getting diluted a little bit, it's just because you are who you are. I think people are just a little bit more well behaved and really putting quality content up there as compared to the stuff that you might see on some other platforms.
Well, if you have thoughts on this or anything else we talk about on the show, you can join our Discord and make your voice heard. A lot of lively comments in there. It's a good time. You can join by linking to a Patreon account at patreon.com/DTNS. So, Tom, it turns out that Nintendo is somewhat lawsuit happy and will stop at nothing.
Yeah. No, they're going after grocery stores, Sarah.
Yeah, okay. What's happening? Yeah.
Not a Ralph's, a small mom and pop shop, or maybe just pop shop in Costa Rica called Super Mario. It has been called Super Mario since 2013. And this year, when Mario's son Charlito went to renew the trademark registration, he discovered that Nintendo was threatening to sue them over it. However, Costa Rica's National Register ruled in the grocery store's favor, saying, Nintendo, it doesn't look like you operate any grocery stores, nor is the company's signage in any way trying to imply that it's a Nintendo grocery store. If you look at their signage, it's yellow. It has the words Super and Mario on that sign, but it doesn't have anything else but their telephone number.
And a grocery cart.
Yeah, and a slogan in Spanish. Like, it looks nothing like Super Mario, Nintendo, anything. So good on the Costa Rican National Register for preserving this trademark that is not confusing in any way. But why? Why, Nintendo? Why do you have to go after a small grocery store just because the founder's name is Mario? Like, it's a supermarket run by Mario. So it's literally describing what it is.
Well, and how did it even get on Nintendo's radar?
Right. That's a good question, right?
It's like, I mean, was somebody maybe, taking a vacation and was like, that seems weird.
It's been around for 11 years, and suddenly now, out of the blue, when they try to re-register it, it probably was the re-registering that just sort of flags it.
My guess is Nintendo lawyers just go through all trademark registrations looking for potential violations and then just lodge as many objections as possible in order to keep folks anywhere near any kind of infringement. So they file these as often as possible because it's common in legal departments to say, let's try to push the area of infringement as far away from us as possible. In case we miss something here and there, it won't get near our actual intellectual property. And that's what it sounds to me like Nintendo's doing.
I think one of the rules for keeping a copyright or keeping a trademark is that you actually have to enforce it.
That is misunderstood. But but in some legal cases, you do have to demonstrate that you're using it. You don't have to do this though. No lawyer I've ever talked about has said, no, you have to be lodging trademark violation suits against small grocery store operators in Costa Rica, or else you might lose the Super Mario trademark. Like, I don't think that's possible.
Yeah, I remember years ago, it was actually as a young man, he was a kid. He was like 16, 17 years old. His name is Mike Rowe.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He created
this story.
micro software.
Right.
Just like he was literally building computers in his garage and selling computers back in the day. And Microsoft came after him with a vengeance. Now, if I remember the story correctly, I think that once they won in court and said that this is too close to us, you can't do this, they gave him all kind of stuff, licenses for everything. They might even give him a scholarship or something like that. So we're not trying to be jerks here, but you can't be micro software and we're Microsoft. That's just too close and you build computers and
that could be confusing for people.
So that was confusing. Yeah. This one, as you say, Tom, is not. It's a grocery store. It is a grocery store. So I don't.
It's a grocery store with a shopping cart as its logo.
Yeah. I mean,
it's very clearly not
run by
Nintendo.
A guy named Mario.
Well, yeah. I mean, if I don't know, for some reason, if I was like, I'm going to, open up a flower shop and call it Super Sarah. And Nintendo was like, well, that's a game that, you don't have the rights to. I'd be like, come on, man. If I had opened a store and was selling Nintendo products, that would be something.
Sure.
But otherwise, no. I think it's a little overreaching.
It's in many ways, it sort of reminds me of the way Disney used to go after people for any sort of anything.
Oh, sure.
Anything that resembled the Mickey Mouse or anything that was close to it. Because
the
for
Olympics
Nintendo,
do the same thing. Yeah. The NFL does the same thing with the Super Bowl. You're allowed to say Super Bowl. You're allowed to talk about the Super Bowl, but they definitely go after people, which has scared folks into saying the big game and just to be safe, even though in most cases you don't need to.
Which is weird because sometimes they do very odd things. Like Nintendo tends to go after YouTube reviewers that review Nintendo, which is very odd because it's not like they're cheating people out of
they're trying to get people to buy more Nintendo products,
and it just seems counterintuitive, but when that's the only mode that's what you do, right? It's like
Laminar wonders if they actually named the Mario character after the landlord of the grocery store.
Well, they named it after a plumber, or
no. The Laminar is just making a joke. Like maybe secretly it was this guy, and they want to keep him quiet.
I think it's. I mean, it's because it's. I guess in Spanish it'd be Supermercado, and so you would say Mario would be close enough to make it.
Super Mario, Supermercado Mario. He just shortened Supermercado. That's all.
I remember there was an athlete. I can't remember if they were a football player or a basketball player, but their name was actually Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, not the captain, not the great.
I remember this.
But they had to actually go to Kareem's legal team to get the ability to use his likeness or use that name on jerseys and stuff like that. And I think Kareem was cool about it, but it was I guess when you trademark stuff, when you go out and copyright things, trademark things, people are ultimately paid to protect them, so they're going to.
Yeah, I believe that story was that the younger Kareem's parents just loved Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
They loved him and they named him after him.
Yeah, like this is your namesake. Yay.
Yeah. It was supposed to be an honor, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway, I'm of two minds about these kinds of stories because on the one hand, these are just lawyers doing their job, right? And their job comes off badly sometimes, but they are trying their best to set the boundaries far away from the intellectual property being a problem. So in their minds, they're like, yeah, we issue the claim, and it's up to the register to turn it down if it's not appropriate. It's not Nintendo's job to determine which ones are appropriate or not. So they're going to try to squash as many as possible. So I don't really get upset at Nintendo for this. Except that it's, it's just a small supermarket operator. Like it causes a lot of stress for them, and then they have to go
but
file.
That's an easy win because they can't afford the big, powerful lawyers.
But they don't win. Nintendo doesn't win anything out of this, right? Except bad press.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But all press is good press.
Well, it is Friday, and we like to cap off a week with some fun stuff. We'll call it Friday, if you will. We've got another quiz that Roger has put together for us. So, Roger, what do you have for us this week?
All right, it's the Lunar New Year, or as I call it, Chinese New Year. And in the spirit of the occasion, I get it, it was the 29th, but we celebrate it as a week-long thing, so deal with it. Okay. And in the spirit of the occasion, besides being surly, I've conjured up a quiz around the great Chinese historical innovations from history that we still use today.
Okay,
well,
all right.
Roger.
So things that, okay, got it.
Yes.
Got it.
Sehe Pokmani Padaseo to you as well.
All right. In that case, the first question is, the oldest evidence for this use, simple tool, was to keep the sun and rain off your head, and it dates around 3500 BCE.
Umbrella.
That would be the newspaper. I'm going to go with Sarah and say umbrella as well.
I will join Sarah, Rob, and Rihanna and say umbrella.
Rihanna. All right. Yes, it is the umbrella, but
Roger,
it's
a very popular song.
Yeah. So what's interesting is that this particular umbrella was actually developed originally to keep the sun out, and it was originally
like
just
parasol.
bamboo straps with animal skin. Then it moved to paper to keep the sun out, and then someone decided, hey, you can put some lacquer on top of it, and water doesn't go through it as well. And there you go.
I mean, I live in Los Angeles where there's a lot of sun, not a ton of rain, although we've gotten a little bit.
Certainly not
recently.
enough. Yeah.
Certainly not enough. But I'm also right on the edge of Koreatown, and I mean the parasol, the daily parasol to keep sun out of your face, your eyes,
Your skin
on your body,
Yeah.
everything. That's very common.
No, I have almost bought one, but
And
I don't
5,500 years old.
yes.
That's the impressive
Yeah.
part of this to me.
And they shrunk it down and they put it in cocktails. I mean, that was like
That was
that was the great leap.
the biggest popularization.
That took me
Well,
a
you don't
second.
want your
I was
ice
like,
to melt,
what?
Roger.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Right.
You want to keep the sun off
And
your
then they were
eyes.
like, "Hey, tiki bar people, you want to get in on this?"
I mean,
Yeah.
like talk about invented culture, tiki culture. I mean, there's a
good.
college
It's good
course
stuff.
on that somewhere. All right, question number 2. Gunpowder was one of the 4 great inventions of ancient China, but its initial discovery was not for war, but for a more benign purpose. A clue can be found in its Mandarin name. How would I pronounce it?
Don't ask us.
Huoyao. So Huoyao.
Okay.
So if
Clue. There's a clue here.
Yes.
Fireworks.
Is there a clue for people who speak Mandarin in that name, or a clue for us?
for people who understand Mandarin.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not going to help
So
me.
for people who are playing along,
Let me ask my wife.
I mean, gunpowder green tea I'm very fond of, but I'm going to guess that it's not tea.
I'm going to
No,
guess
it's
it's
not.
fireworks.
Yes, fireworks.
okay, so T, fireworks, and then Rob.
I was fireworks first.
All right, so fireworks
Yeah,
first.
Rob
the
gets
top.
the point if he's right.
I'm concurring with Rob on the fireworks.
Well, you're all wrong. It was actually it was actually an accident, a byproduct of alchemists in ancient China trying to come up with the elixir of life. Now, this is actually one of the
Wow.
first
They
written.
missed.
Elixir of life.
Yeah, this did not work to extend your life.
This
No.
this is actually the first
trying.
known, or not the first, the oldest known recipe for gunpowder that's been written down.
Okay.
So that is the initial recipe. And over the years, people have messed with it a little bit. But yeah, they were alchemists. They were playing with a lot of things like sulfur and saltpeat. And they
Okay. And they're like,
and-
let's try this. And they're like,
Yeah.
not extending life,
Boy,
but it
did they
does
get
explode.
that one backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things with alchemy is when you're trying to transmute things, you add heat to it. So the explosion was pretty self-evident.
A lot of great scientific experiments are like, we were trying to make one thing, but we found out this thing does it the other way. We had
Post-it
covered
notes.
something about that recently. So
Post-it notes are a perfect example. It was like the opposite of what the guy was trying to come up with. He wanted a new strong adhesive, and he came out with a
the
way to-
microwave is another where they were trying to create they were working on various kind of radar, and this guy found out that one of them melted a chocolate bar.
Yeah.
And he was like, hey, maybe we can do that on purpose.
And then we also have to make sure that if you put fish in it, it stinks real bad. All right. Don't you've never been in a job place where the kitchen's
I understand the reference, yes.
Okay, question number 3. Obviously, that wasn't interesting enough. Paper is the second of China's 4 great historical inventions, but the material was not originally used for writing. Instead, it was used in a manner that online shoppers would find familiar today.
Online shoppers.
Online shoppers.
Using paper?
Wrapping
Packing?
paper?
Yeah, packing material, packing.
Sarah? So Tom, Rob says wrapping, Tom says packing.
Yeah, I'm wrapping.
Well,
packing, something like that.
wrapping pack. I think that's the same. I'm going with the boys.
All right, so you take both of them. So you're all right because it was in fact used to cover initially bronze mirrors as well as packing using as packing for very delicate objects, for example, vessels that held medicines.
Okay.
They were writing, however, on bamboo strips that were basically, they cut into strips and they tied them together and they roll it up, sort of like a scroll. The problem is they got really big and heavy if you wrote a lot. And so 100 years.
Throw the book at someone, it hurts. 'Cause it's wood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
do that.
so it took about 100 years before someone said, hey, we should write on this instead. And there you go.
That's
How
actually
about
pretty good.
that? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Papyrus.
before they were also
Stuff.
tried writing on, they tried other things like silk. That, I mean, that stuff's expensive. It's not, you can't just write anything on it. All right. Question 4. The magnetic compass is the third of China's great historical inventions.
we're getting the 4 great historical inventions in this quiz. I like it. This is good.
But like gunpowder and paper, it was originally not used for navigation, but rather it was used for this more superstitious practice.
Oh, it was like divination, like
Magnetic compass.
yeah.
Not
little needles
used for
pointing
navigation.
at your future. It's pointing at your fortune.
Yeah, I would say
I'm going to
it's
say
like
some kind of divination. Yeah.
or I don't know. I mean, I don't know if ancient Chinese culture did anything that's like zodiac stuff of the world today, but I'll say something like that.
Yeah, you're all pretty close. It was about fortune telling and feng shui. So it was very much of
shui.
Fortune telling. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
feng shui I care about quite a bit,
Interestingly,
Feng-
your
You don't have
fortune was
your
always
feet
north.
in-
Well,
that's what I'm
facing the
they
door.
actually had south. For them, it was south. It was true south. So whatever pointed south was like, way we use the compass, we say it's true north. They looked at it and the way it was.
Oh,
divvied
because
up, it
it's
would point
always
south.
pointing north and south, right?
Yeah.
So they
So
used it for
the
south.
south.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't
Yeah.
think about
Initially,
that.
yeah.
That's cool.
Both are true if they're
Right.
working correctly.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Going back to gunpowder, one of the byproducts of gunpowder, question 5, one of the byproducts of gunpowder is firecrackers and fireworks. In Chinese culture, what are the firecrackers supposed to do during the Lunar New Year festivities or the opening of a new Chinese restaurant or supermarket?
Explode.
That's true. They do explode.
They're
but
That
why?
is the
What
correct
is
They're-
answer.
Make
They're supposed
noise.
to give you good luck.
They're
Half-
supposed to
half- I get-
scare
yeah, yeah,
away evil in the new year.
Rob?
Ooh, maybe are they supposed to scare away evil and bring you good luck in the new year?
Rob?
I don't know. Wake up wake up people and let them be run off by the
Wake up,
dragons.
sheeple.
I don't know.
It's a new year.
Wake up. If that was one of the best deprogramming techniques they've ever discovered was just throwing firecrackers in the room. No, I mean, Sarah was pretty much the closest in that it was there to scare away the evil spirits, but also invite the good fortune to come in its place. Yeah, so evil spirits,
that's
enemies.
exactly
kind of
what I
fits in there.
said.
Yeah. No,
More
you
or
nailed
less.
it. Good job.
After the third time, but yeah, that's good.
Yeah, well, because you
you-
kept prompting me. No, it's good.
But technically
goodbye,
also to
old
explode.
spirits.
Yes.
Hello, new spirits. Prosperity
Got it.
for all.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why are the good spirits not scared away by the firework?
Listen, The story is that they used the
Tom, have you ever
fireworks to
seen
scare
Wizard of
away a
Oz?
monster that was terrorizing a town. And for every celebration, they would do it periodically to set off the fireworks to keep those monsters from coming into the village.
Okay.
There's
that
like
makes
this
more
whole
sense.
folk tale
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, you want to scare away the monster, and then once the monster's gone, then that leaves space.
It's either
for,
the monsters, the landlord,
right.
someone. You just got to scare them.
for the Chinese restaurant. It's the landlord.
For the Chinese new rent month. All right. In question 6, in the 132 CE Common Era, Zheng Heng invented the first instrument to detect the shaking of the earth. He called it the earthquake weather vane, and it could roughly indicate the direction of an earthquake well over 100 miles away. What did he invent?
Earthquake weather vane.
What'd you say,
so
Rob?
it's like a seismic
Seismometer.
monitor.
Yeah.
Yeah, seismometer.
Eh. Yes, the first seismometer.
I think
So
you gave us
what-
too many hints in that question.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I had to try to make it a little easy for folks. But
I was like, I think it's the earthquake weather vane.
Yeah.
now
it's
what's
right there in the
interesting
question.
about it is it didn't record in the
Clue.
same way that you use with a modern seismometer. But yeah, it literally had water in the vessel and it would bounce. And
How would it like draw things?
no,
though?
you would just notice
You would
by
just
the
look at
noise
it, yeah.
by the noise it made. Had little
Notice
bells
by the
that-
ground shaking. And then,
Yeah.
If it's 100 miles away, though, you may not be able to
No,
perceive
yeah.
that in your feet. So yeah.
that's right. That's right.
I mean, the horse might, but not people.
Yeah, how would you tell if it was like not horses going by versus an earthquake?
I'm going to guess that it didn't
I'm
work
sure as
perfectly.
that was one of the first ones developed. I think they had to iterate on that invention a couple of times before they filtered
Well,
out
they just
horses.
I guess they just check. Were there any horses going by just now? No? Okay, it must have been an earthquake.
I mean, that's what I do today when I'm like,
Yeah.
was that an earthquake or just like
Or
a
were
weird
there
bus?
horses going through downtown Los Angeles?
I will say being in LA is one of the first times I've ever heard an earthquake. Like before in San Francisco, I would feel them, but I would never hear them. I hear them down here.
Actually, the other day, we got up to a stop sign and someone on a horse was across the intersection from us. It was like up in the northwest part of the valley. So,
Wow.
you know, there are also still people riding horses around here too.
Indeed there are.
Yeah.
Indeed there are. Yeah. All over the
People
world.
and
in
horses
fact.
go together like horse and chocolate. All right. Question 7. It's believed. What? No, don't give me one.
I'm just
It's
saying. Okay.
horse and chocolate.
Yeah.
It's believed that China developed the first of these oral care tools using pig's hair in the late 1400s.
Toothbrushes.
Got to be toothbrush. Yeah.
It's toothbrush specifically.
Using pig's hair. That's how you get in between. In between
Bristle
the teeth.
toothbrush. Before we had toothbrushes, but they were just.
Oh, what
very-
were the toothbrushes before bristle toothbrushes?
They were like things like twigs with like the leaves or whatever still on. Just anything
Really?
abrasive. Yeah. This was kind of the first sort of bristly.
I wouldn't think that would count as a toothbrush, but okay.
I mean,
So-
in the early toothbrush days,
Yeah, in the 1300s.
probably anything.
You were brushing
that
your teeth with
that
leaves.
Was better than nothing. Counted
And
as a
that's
toothbrush.
people. Sometimes people, believe it or not, during the 19th century in the U.S., some people would just use their finger and baking soda, and they would just do that.
Oh, sure. Yeah, because they didn't have a toothbrush, not because the toothbrush hadn't been invented.
Well, no, but I mean, like the clean teeth. People didn't like when you think of like gotta brush my teeth. That people automatically reach for a toothbrush. I need a toothbrush.
No, my grandparents didn't use toothpaste. They used tooth powder.
My grandfather, same thing.
Yeah,
And it was mostly baking soda.
probably. I never knew what was in it, but I just thought it was weird
Sodium
that they
bicarbonate
didn't
or
use
something.
toothpaste.
Yeah.
They just used a powder, and they still used a toothbrush. But,
But like with the powder, did they have to like put the powder in water?
You have
Kind of
water in
thing?
your mouth. You
yeah, they
saliva.
just mixed it with
Yeah.
their saliva.
Oh,
They just-
okay.
I remember my grandfather. He would just take it and he would just dump it onto the
Yeah.
toothbrush and just throw it in his mouth and go to
Was
town with it.
Did his powder come from like back when he was a kid and he just kept a huge supply, or was he
I
able to
can't-
buy it?
I'm too young to remember. I was too young to remember.
My
I
grandparents
distinctly
definitely
remember him
had
putting
fresh
dust
tooth
on his.
powder. Like, it,
I knew
know
my
if you
old
can buy
mechanic used to clean his mouth. Besides brushing his teeth, he would actually swish with hydrogen peroxide.
Oh yeah,
No,
I've heard of people doing
that's
that.
that's a real thing. People
No,
still do
it's
that.
just-
I used the original flavor Listerine once.
Once.
I remember using Listerine when it was gross. It was that weird whiskey color.
So
Oh,
that
yeah,
was earlier
that's
today.
That's the original.
I feel like that's still something you can buy at Ralph's
They
right
still,
now.
I have
can-
not,
You can still buy it. You can still buy tooth powder too. I'm looking at Amazon. There's all kinds of boutique places. Like it's not Crest or like a big major brand, but
Well, people are very particular about not just, toothpaste, but just
hygiene. Care
hygiene and grooming in general. And, whatever works for you. If you're not getting cavities, go to town with the powder.
Schwally makes magical tooth powder with hydroxyapatite, cattle bone, and fluoride-free Amish eggshells.
Okay.
I didn't know the Amish laid eggs.
I didn't
right.
either. You learned something new today.
Goes back to, 1000 BC.
Question. The final question, question 8. Kublai Khan was the grandson of the great Genghis Khan and introduced this in 1260 while ruling the Mongol Yuan dynasty in China. This helped revolutionize trade and commerce within China.
The Silk Road?
Grandson of the great Genghis Khan introduced this in 1260. Revolutionary trade and commerce. Well, it'd have to be paper money then. Because China famously introduced paper money to the world.
I'll go with Tom.
So two
Thanks
paper
a lot,
monies.
Rob.
You could join us, Sarah. Come on
So
over.
Silk Road, paper money, paper money.
No,
So-
I said what I said.
Yeah, I guess
All
you're
right.
right. Yeah.
So Tom is right. It's paper money.
Well, don't
So what's
sound
it-
so morose about it.
So
Yeah,
that was
right?
the original currency was coins that they used, but they found out like, geez, this stuff is pretty heavy. And so Kublai Khan came up with an idea, or maybe his advisors came up with an idea. They would take paper and they would print out like the amount and whatever, and then Kublai Khan would go through and stamp his seal on each one.
Okay.
And so
That's how you knew it was real.
That's how you knew it was legit. And if anyone was caught trying to make forgeries of it, they would be put to death.
Yeah.
So try to
Like today.
minimize counterfeiting. So there you go, folks.
Well, okay. I have a question. You told us 3 of the 4 great inventions of ancient China. What was the 4th?
Oh,
Roger Chang.
You wish to know the 4th?
What is the fourth?
The 4th one is it's what makes the stuff you get on a sheet of paper possible today.
Oh, ink.
No.
Okay.
He did it before. We did it before Gutenberg.
Oh, printing.
Yes,
The
printing
movable
press.
type. Movable type.
Movable big block of type. So that is the four ancient Chinese great historical inventions.
That's pretty cool.
Well, Roger, this was
Yay.
fun. As always.
Have some sweet and
Good
sour
quiz.
soup, a moon cake, maybe a couple egg rolls.
Dumplings.
Yep. Happy,
Just remember,
happy
true
Lunar
Chinese
New
egg
Year
rolls are
or-
cookies. They're not the thing that you get as an appetizer.
Yes, remember that, or
Yes.
you'll be sorry.
Because you'll be
All right,
lost in the
so
supermarket.
before we get out of here, let's check out the mailbag.
Mike responded to Roger's latest 2 cents column on Patreon about returning the SER5 mini PC from B-Link. He was so excited about it, but it didn't quite work out. You can read all about why on patreon.com/DTNS. Mike says, I purchased one after you highlighted it as a replacement for my wife's aging all-in-one. It's working great, and I'm glad I did. Granted, all she does is web browsing and light photo editing, so it's a step up for her using newer hardware. I'm sorry it didn't meet your needs, but I'm glad I learned about it for mine.
Oh, that's good to know. I mean,
Yeah.
it's. I really liked it. It's just for the
For
work,
your purposes, it
for the
was
work
just-
I do,
yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
It did not. It wasn't the square peg that fit in the round hole.
We also got an email from Andrew who wrote, Today is January 30th, 2015. I saw this on, I think he meant 2025. I saw this on the screen at a Wendy's fast food restaurant drive-through this evening. I'd placed my order online, drove up to the intercom, advised the employee on the other end, speaker name for my order. The employee instructed me to continue to the window to receive my order. Sounds very cut and dry, right? This is how drive-thrus work. Andrew says, before I did, I looked at the screen and I was amazed. I've heard of this tech phenomenon before, but I had never actually observed it in the wild. Here's what it said. Texas Digital Systems, Inc. Excellence in Innovation. Microsoft Windows CE.NET version 4.20 build 1088 on June 19th, 2003.
Ah, yes, the public error screen. One of my favorites. I love finding these. I have a whole photo album on my phone of public error screens. There's one from 2011 where Video Wall EXE stopped working right as they were showing Eddie Griffin would be performing live soon. Sad.
I assume you were in Vegas?
Yeah, that one was in Vegas.
Yep.
That was actually for Blog World. This one, Darren Kitchen was standing in front of at the airport.
Oh, yeah. Look at
when the
Darren.
airport screen went blue screen of death on us. This is a restaurant with a blue screen of death behind the receptionist. Some of these are out of context where you just see the error. I didn't pull back enough so you can see where they're from. This is a point of sale screen that was showing a menu, but it crashed and now you just see Windows Media Player. So yeah, that's one of my favorites. Come on over to my house. I have a whole slideshow of them.
I mean, Tom is a fun hang, guys.
There's no doubt about that now, is there?
It is a fun hang. You want to know what he has going on in that bookcase behind him? A lot of blue screens of death.
So many.
So remember, you can send your comments to feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com.
Indeed,
Yes, and
you can.
During the show, folks have been submitting titles in Discord, on Twitch, and directly at dtns.showbot.tv. Tie for the top vote getter right now, Batfink 2001 with Hats All, folks.
That's all. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And Zoe up there with LinkedIn's Break Room. We also have Batfink with Henna Nights. I think this is the tooth powder with the the Amish eggshell.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Henna Nights.
Got it.
Although they're a separate group of people, not to be
Yes,
confused with the Amish.
for the pun, we'll.
The Hennanites are different.
Zoe also has Mario Kart with a C, not Mario Kart with a K. That's really good.
That's actually a really good. That's a good defense.
Yeah.
We're a grocery store.
Different kind of cart. Dylan Northrup with Apple Watch batteries are swell for the class action lawsuit about the swelling batteries. The slow AI movement from Fred 819. Quadratic divination equations from Saray TW. Sarah, what did we go with?
We went with Zoe's is LinkedIn's Break Room.
Yay! Zoe,
you've been on a roll lately. You are just good at this. But we appreciate everybody who submits and votes and has some fun in the process.
Indeed. We have folks watching us on LinkedIn. Hi, everybody. Good to see you there. I'm glad you're watching. We also got a super sticker from Laminar Rainbow. Man, I am happy that Laminar Rainbow and C-Spawn are around to do things like super stickers, because without them, we would be sad. Thank you for the super sticker, Laminar Rainbow. Also, big thanks to everybody who follows us on Twitch. Technomensch cheered us with some bits. Zoe with some bits. Dylan Northrup just followed us an hour ago, submitting titles already. This is great. And thanks to Jimmy the Brush for the shout out yesterday. Appreciate that as well.
If you are a DTNS supporter and you want to show...
I'm sorry, Rob. I totally forgot. Russell gave us a raise on Patreon. We got to give Russell big thanks.
Russell.
Yeah. Sorry about that. That's my fault.
So yeah, if you're a DTNS supporter and you want to show that off, we've got stuff for you at dailytechnewsshow.com/store. Pick up a mug or a t-shirt, a mouse pad, or a DTNS logo with a DTNS logo on them. They're great looking ways to support the show and a fun conversation piece to spread the word. So
new stuff over there.
We got some good stuff over there.
Yeah.
We've
got the new
there.
DTNS Live logo on things. So a couple of you bought some mouse pads. Let us know if you actually put your mouse on them. We'd like to know.
Well, and Rob is the one that gave me the idea of telling people out and about to ask me about my podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Because then
Oh, yeah.
you have a conversation about it without having to, I don't know, tap somebody on the shoulder and be like,
It's not as creepy as like,
ask
hey,
me.
I want to tell you about my podcast. It's like
Right.
they come up to you and say, hey, you got a podcast? Tell me about it.
Yeah, let's hear about it. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Just remember that you have the shirt on so you don't look freaked out when people come up and talk to you.
Right.
What do you
yeah.
say? What?
What podcast? How do you know me? Well, we are happy to talk to you about our podcast, and you can watch us live Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern. That is 2100 UTC, and you can find out more at dailytechnewsshow.com/live. We hope you all have a wonderful weekend. We'll be back Monday with Justin Robert Young joining us. Talk to you then.
This week's episodes of Daily Tech News Show Live were created by the following people. Producer and host, Sarah Lane. Host, Tom Merritt. Host, Robb Dunewood. Producer, Roger Chang. Video producer, Joe Kuntz. Producer at large, Anthony Lemos. Social media producer and moderator, Zoe Detterding. Our mods, Beatmaster, W. Scottus 1, BioCow, Captain Kipper, Steve Guadarrama, Paul Reese, Matthew J. Stevens, a.k.a. Gadget Virtuoso, and J.D. Galloway. Mod and video hosting by Dan Christensen. Music provided by Martin Bell and Dan Looters. Art by Len Peralta. Acast ad support from Tatiana Matias. Patreon support from Tom McNeil. Contributors to this week's show included Justin Robert Young and Scott Johnson. Our guest this week was Andrea Jones-Roy. And thanks to all our patrons who make the show possible.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.